Joining me right now is Sean Spicer. He's Communications Director for the Republican National Committee. Sean, it's good to see you again. Welcome.
Thank you. Good morning, Maria.
Well, I want to talk about the possibility of a contested convention. Would you say more likely than not at this point?
I think as each contest gets underway, unless, as you stated, I mean, Ted Cruz needs about 88%. Donald Trump needs about 55% of the remaining delegates. We've got Wisconsin coming up this week, and then 2 weeks after that, 95 delegates in New York. As we pass each of these subsequent contests and someone fails to kind of pick up the requisite number, the odds of that open convention become a little bit higher, yeah.
So how does this work, Sean? I mean, if Trump heads into the convention without that magic number of 1,237, we're told that already more than 100 delegates are poised to break with him on a second ballot, against him, according to interviews with dozens of delegates. So in one of the starkest examples of lack of support, out of the 168 Republican National Committee members, each of whom doubles as a convention delegate, only one publicly supports Trump. Do you think once they get into the convention and we get to perhaps a second ballot, delegates will start switching their minds because they can?
Well, what happens, as you noted, you need 1,237 delegates to win. Whoever hits that number first becomes our nominee. So on the first ballot, almost all of the delegates are bound. There are a few states where they're unbound and they're elected to vote their conscience, or, they may have stated a particular candidate when they ran. On the second ballot, more of them become unbound, and then on third ballot, but in a state like Florida, they're bound through three ballots. So as each ballot goes, you would see less and less unbound, and that's where candidates need, where the legwork comes in, and these candidates need to be working, the individuals that have gotten elected and start talking to them about why they're the best candidate and why they deserve their support. But so this is part of the process, and I think each of these campaigns is starting to work that system and learn who the delegates are that are going to run and get elected for those slots. But in almost most of those cases, they're elected through the first or second ballot, and that's when I think you're going to see a lot of the campaigns really focus their effort.
Which is why right now you've got the candidates trying to lure as many of those folks that they can, because a contested convention is now looking more and more likely.
Well, that's right. And again, as we've got right now, we're about 1,600 delegates through the process. We've got about 800 left to go. And I think that unless someone really blows out in Wisconsin and New York, we're pretty much, guaranteed to go to June 7th when you've got 303 delegates on the ballot that day. So this is going to go probably in all likelihood to June 7th. And then we'll see if someone's got it. Now, there's going to be two scenarios. One is somebody's short of the 1,237, but they can make that up with the unbound delegates going into Cleveland. Or two is that no one's going to have that magic number going in, and then we'll go to you, as you pointed out, to this open convention where we'd go to a first or second round of balloting.
We were just speaking with Congressman Peter King from New York, and Congressman King said, look, once we get into that convention, it's anybody's to lose, anybody's to win. And he basically made a prediction that John Kasich could come out from all the way in behind and actually be quite successful. Is that even possible?
Well, of course it's possible. I think, and again, as I mentioned, where a lot of these campaigns are going to spend a lot of the time between now and the convention is having one-on-one conversations with the individuals that were elected as delegates by the grassroots voters and try to talk to them about why they should stick with them through multiple rounds of voting. But, that's going to be where these campaigns really show their depth.
Right.
I think, as Congressman Kasich mentioned, the interesting thing is that on the Democratic side, you're seeing Bernie Sanders really make a play, keeping Hillary Clinton on the ropes. I think what's going to be really interesting on the other side of the aisle is if the big rumor going on in D.C. among Democrats is what happens if Hillary Clinton does get indicted. Bernie Sanders has amassed a pretty substantial amount of Democrats, and I know that there's concern among Democrats that they end up with Bernie Sanders and the superdelegates, which have sort of already pledged to Hillary Clinton, the unelected superdelegate, I think would find a way to draft a Joe Biden or somebody else, Elizabeth Warren or somebody, because they know that they can't win with Bernie Sanders. I think if this indictment comes down on Hillary Clinton, you're going to see a lot of concern about what's going on the other side of the aisle.
It's a really important point because we know that the investigation from the FBI is in now its final stages, where it may very well include, and it will include likely, an interview with Secretary Clinton. So we'll see what comes out of that. That's also an open question. Very quickly here.
Right. I know you brought it up in your interview with her.
Yes. You
brought it up in the interview with her, and I think they're rather dismissive of it, but I think there's a lot of concern among top-ranking Democrats in D.C. that this possibility is very real, and that would really hamper any idea of them being able to move forward with her as a nominee going out of their convention in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of concern on the Democratic side about how they move forward. Hillary Clinton, how do they get somebody else, whether it's Joe Biden or Elizabeth Warren, and put them in place and use those unelected superdelegates to kind of get around the will of the voters?
Yeah, absolutely. Sean, real quick, I know you had a meeting with Donald Trump this past week. All the headlines were Donald Trump tries to make nice with the Republican National Committee. Did he tell you that he wouldn't go for a third independent party? Was it a good meeting? Was he trying to make nice with the RNC?
Well, he had a great meeting with the chairman. He talked about the importance of party unity. Everybody on the party understands this, that if we don't come out of Cleveland unified, that's really given a leg up to the Democrats. So a lot of what they're doing right now, frankly, is posturing, a lot of talk, but every single one of those individuals knows that we are going to give the Democrats a huge hand up if we don't come out of Cleveland unified as a party. So any talk of third party or not supporting each other is, I think, a lot of bluster right now, a lot of talk. We as a party understand what's at stake.
Understood. All right, Sean, great to speak with you as always. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Maria.
Sean Spicer there. The U.S.